Well, hello, welcome, and good evening. Welcome back to II Racing League on Twitch. Hope you're all really well. Evening, Demon. How are you, my friend? It is round number 12, and not expecting any rain. Thank you very much, Josh, for that information. We are in Mexico. If you joined us on Tuesday, you would have seen a very good race. Still on the Twitch channel. You can always catch up on that, or on our YouTube channel as well. II Racing League. No spaces on YouTube. And a bit of housekeeping to do as well. Smaller Smiley subscribed yesterday for 3 months. Thank you very much, Smaller. Really appreciate that. And TD on a 3-month streak of subs. Really appreciate that. Thank you very much, Tom. All the funds put into the subscriptions and the bits on this channel go back into the league through prizes, rewards, sponsors, whatever it looks like. It does go back into the league, so thank you very much. Nice way to start us off tonight, and Carito will take us on the first flying lap of this evening. Thundering down at over 200 miles an hour towards the first 3 corners, which is kind of like a triple chicane, where hitting the apexes, getting the line and the braking, and on the exit of 3 there, the throttle acceleration is really important. Nail it, you're going to do pretty good. DRS all the way down towards turn 4, where you will see some overtakes and people going side by side through this little section of corners on the track into the double right of 6 and 7, or just turn 6. Sets you up for this S section where don't expect to see too many overtakes in this part of the track. Oh, Carito just getting a little bit out of step through back end of the S section. And that just demonstrates how tricky this track is. Pick up with Aya as he starts his lap. A track beloved and hated by many different people. If you're joining us on Tuesday night, you will know that there was over 100 seconds of time penalties gathered in the race. Will we beat that here tonight? 116, I think, was the total number. As Aya picks us up where we left off in Sector 2, navigates that S section very well as Sector 2 finishes, and you brake all the way down to 4th for that relatively straightforward corner, but then through the stadium section things get really tricky. Sun actually blocking the apex for the vision out of the cockpit there, and Aya seems to navigate that not too bad at all, and currently is the time to beat. But still early days. The bottom 1 driver here will drop out of Q1, so the last thing you want to do is invalidate. Get the tyre graphic up just in case some of those cheeky quicker drivers in the league decide to use a set of medium compound tyres. Evening Aussie, Formula 1, hope you're well, mate. Thanks for dropping by. Hope you're all good this week. Hope you enjoy the action tonight. Padge then on the soft tyre goes 3rd. Still early doors. I imagine Padge will beat that woman at 19.9. He did on Tuesday, so expect to see that one broken. For Fade, that's the first lap time in this league for Fade in qualifying, so a 16.8 on the mediums is actually pretty good. We didn't quite... No, we did. We did drop into the 15s, I believe, on Tuesday. So 16.8 on the mediums is pretty good. As Killian goes into the 15s in Q1 as well. Joseph Hales is on the hard compound, making a bit of a habit of this. Said he would do it last week at Hungary, and he did get through to Q2 on those hard compound tyres, just making sure they are fully up to temp before he navigates his first flying lap here tonight. Driver for No Assist League. What, here or a different league? I have the utmost respect for anyone driving No Assist. I've not managed it yet. Maybe in the future I will, but I have nothing but respect for drivers with no assists on the car. Oh, here. What's your gamer tag? Or your PSN? Ah, Richard, there we go. Yeah, I was very impressed on Tuesday, Richard. Excited to have you in the league. I think you can add to our league very nicely. Nice little debut for you on Tuesday. Seen Fade's name before, says Josh. Potential front runner. Okay. Well, we'll have to wait and see what Fade does in Q2 if he gets that. He has retired early. And Joseph Hales demonstrating why the hard tyres don't give that much grip. Bit of a snap out of turn 6 there. As he makes his way through the S section. Limited grip available, so this won't be the quickest time we ever see. However, it doesn't look too shabby. A little bit deep there out of the hairpin, and as a result, cuts over that inside curb. And this lap will not count. And he is not going for another run immediately. Only 30% ERS left for Joseph, so he might back off and go again if he's got the fuel. 1010 has popped in there on the mediums, just slower than Fade, so Fade's putting himself in some pretty esteemed company here. As Felix comes across the line and does a 17.9. Deflated Wee goes a tenth and a bit slower than 1010. So as things stand, Fade is quicker than the 81 leader and the no assist leader in this league so far. Exclamation mark standings in the chat for all the live... Well, not live. I keep saying live. It's not live. For all the updated standings from the previous races. Asthma Frog does a 16.8 and goes ahead of those 5 drivers on the medium compound. So that's not too bad from Asthma Frog. Not sure if TD's on no assist or not. He is adapting to life without racing line at the moment. If he's a bit quicker than we think, he probably has the line on. He'll kill me for saying that as he goes second fastest. What about Greg? Oh, Greg's has had a bit of a spin through the S section, putting the S in spin. And for Greg, he will have to go again. What about Joseph then? He has charged up the battery somewhat and is heading on now for a new run. Evening Novatech, hope you're well, mate. How are you doing? Joseph gets another snap out of turn 3, just on those exit curbs, so maybe the ride height isn't quite as high as maybe it needs to. Who knows? I am not a setup expert. And quite a lot of traffic here for Hales to navigate. There's an Alpine behind going quickly. That'll be TD, possibly on his way back into the pits, so may not have been blocked there. Drivers starting new laps. Padge is continuing to go round on that same set of tyres, possibly for a few practice runs. Wiggles has started a new time as well, as Joseph Els comes across the line and goes P9, 5 milliseconds out of Felix on a slower compound of tyres. That's not too bad there from Joseph, but remains to be seen whether that time will get him through. Mr. Wiggles rapidly approaching 150 races in IIRL, is due to hit it in 2 weeks at Monaco. Bring you some more information about Monaco later on in the stream. Mr. Wiggles, this is race number 147 for him. Any snooker fans will enjoy that stat. Joseph trying out the new quali tyre format. He tried hards last week in Hungary, and he said, I'm going to try and get through to Q2 on the hard compound. And he did it. So, remains to be seen if he can get that done today, as Wiggles does a 16.1, himself just 2/10 away from Killian at the top. And here comes Fury now, who has really impressed me since joining the league. On the medium compound, that one is an 18.4, so I imagine he was just gearing up for another run here as he whacks on some ERS. Smaller Smiley coming to the end of his first lap, and that will be P9. So ahead of Greg and Aya. Yeah, chat, I want to know, where do you put this track? Is it one of your faves? Is it a bit meh? Or is this the bane of your existence? Well, there we go, that's one way to put it, Tom. Fury then on his second run on that medium compound does pretty good lap time there, 17.2. That probably see him through, unless everyone beneath him improves. Hadge is improving through the opening sector, 4/10 to the good. He has switched off the ERS, so maybe this is just a throwaway session for Padge. Maybe he doesn't really care if he starts at the back. And taking a very wide route into turn 12. Hello CTFD, hello TJ, hello Wiggles, hello Johnny B. Wow, everyone joined at the same time. Caught me off guard. So I'm not sure why Hadge is turning off the ERS mid-lap. Josh goes 4th fastest in the Red Bull. As it stands, Felix potentially could be looking over his shoulder a little bit, as 5 of the top 6 have called it an early bath. Gormble with eye then as he comes to start a new lap, takes a very extreme wide line through the final corner. Try and get as much speed as possible before you start that time lap. And thank you for the follow, PRS Roro. Says hello, how you doing, mate? Nice to see you. $82 massive. Padge was on full fuel, the weirdo. That's what Wiggles said. I didn't call him a weirdo. Padge isn't a weirdo. So, yeah, Padge will obviously need to pit if he wants to get rid of some of that fuel. But it's a little bit too late now, so I think Padge will be out, but that's probably by design. Padge probably Wasn't expecting to get through on full fuel. Patch said he's starting last. That would clear a lot of things up. Roro, hi, would be interested in racing, but don't know if I'm quick enough for this tier. That is a lovely offer. We will put you in touch with someone. IIRL Patch, who is the main recruiter of the league. Put you in touch with him and see what kind of times you're doing on TT. And if you're quick enough to hang with these guys, it will be on the Thursday night. If you're a little bit off the pace in terms of this, Sunday night is this is tier 2. That is a little bit slower, generally speaking. It does improve and goes P10, although it doesn't really matter in the end. Have an on-board lap with Greg, why not? In the Alpha remote. I've just noticed Greg has not got any ERS on. So, maybe Greg knows that he is safe. Pin your Discord name if you have Discord. That's how we communicate with our league. So if you send me that, I will send you a message from the SunGod26, and I'll put you in contact with someone who will answer all of your questions. That's the Q1. Killian and Wiggles lead the way. TD, fluky up there in P3. Must have a nosebleed being up so high in that Alpine car. Josh, Asthma Frog, Fade, 10-10 Wee, Carito Aya in the top 10. Padge by design dropping out in 16th place. I know TD's about to kill me for insulting him like that. If Fade isn't in top 3, he's on Fraud Watch. So how do you know Fade then? Because I've not heard of Fade before. So what do you know about Fade? Let's have a chat. Ten comes around the final corner, taking a wide line like Aya, who is coincidentally the only one out on the medium compound right now. Wouldn't even mind to join now, to be honest. I'll leave it on to Patch. I'm streaming, so I'll try and make the stream as best I can. I'll let Padge have that decision, but no problems from me, Padge, on that one. He's sweaty, put it that way. Okay, right. So potentially, Fade could play a bit of a part in the championship fight. 10-10 navigating this lap very well so far. Taking an awful lot of curb. Remains to be seen if that's going to pay dividends for him. He's round the final corner to do a 16.2, so not the quickest we've seen tonight, but certainly not a slouch. Here comes Deflated Wee across the line to do a 16.1 and go top of the timing screens in the early couple of minutes. Here comes Carito to do a 17.1, and Killian comes across the line to do a 16.4. Fury goes third fastest on a 16.3, and TD, that one was a banker. He will go again with ERS enabled. Fade has gone fourth fastest, 2 milliseconds out of Killian, and Greg has slotted in there into 7th place on a 17.6. For Aya, he comes across the line now to go 8th fastest on that medium compound. I guess you can kind of predict it's not going to be as quick. Asthma Frog, this one will not count. It is invalidated. And he comes back into the pits. What is Felix up to? as he comes around the final corner and engages the ERS. So this one almost identical to TD's first time. So Mr. Wiggles then going out a little bit later than most of the bunch. Will go again. Deflated Wheat, in case you are not aware, is leading the championship by 11 points. Killian won last week to keep his, I'm going to call them slim title hopes alive. He's 52 points, Killian, off the top spot. So if he gets some good podiums and some race wins under his belt in the final 7 races this season, might find himself with an outside chance of the title. However, Deflated Wheat and Josh have been engaged in that title battle for a good couple of months now. Hello, John. I've messaged you for the command I have redeemed. I will get on that when Q2 finishes. As for now, Mr. Wiggles into the 15s, and that will safely see him through to Q3. Josh is still in the pits. I don't think he's gone out yet. Asthma Frog, Joseph Hales on outlaps. Smaller Smiley on a flyer. There's a slow Alpine of TD, so I wonder... Oh, he has improved to a 16.8, and Felix has improved to a 16.7. Both on their second lap on that set of tyres. Look at Wiggles sweating at everything. What an absolute sweat. Hey, you don't get most pole positions in IIRL easily. He's got 18. Make that 19 after Tuesday night. So he's pole position leader in IRL. As we said, rapidly approaching 150 Grand Prix in this league is Mr. Wiggles. Josh still in the pits, as pretty much everyone who needs to be out on track is out on track right now. Smaller Smiley does a 17.0, pops himself into P9. How's he getting on? There we go. Oh, he's going slowly. He's just finished the time, 16.3. Pretty good there. Alpha Tauri up there in P4 and P5. All sorted. Thank you, Padge. Appreciate that. Ten has retired early from the session, thinks that lap time is quick enough to get him through. Oh, and a little bit too much inside curve there. But Asma just unsettled the car slightly, threw it off. Maybe would have lost half a tenth to a tenth of a second. But pretty nice line through the final corner there. 16.8, so ahead of TD by 3 milliseconds at the moment. As we said, Fade ahead of Killian by 2 milliseconds. And at this point in time, there's only one person to really be watching right now, and that's Josh. If you don't beat your pole time from Tuesday, you're in the mud. And thank you for the sub, Padge. 4 months in a row. Thank you very much, mate. Really appreciate that. Oh, Josh here. Oh, it's on an outlap. Thankfully, he wasn't being blocked. But that would have got very close. I'm sure he would be a little bit frustrated if that was a time lap. So Josh then, the championship protagonist. Make your mind up who your favourite is between Josh and Deflated, but one thing is for certain, this guy is the real deal. Deflated, of course, on this unbelievable point-scoring streak in AT1 races, stretching back to the last race in Season 1. He's on a 46 race streak of scoring points in this division, and Josh is the reigning champion. It's a title fight set up for the ages. And thank you so much, John, subscribing for 6 months in a row. Thank you very much. Reminder, of course, all funds put into this channel on the Twitch subscriptions are fed back into the league with giveaways, sponsors, that kind of stuff. But thank you so much. 6 months is, in one go, very generous, as Josh does the fastest time we have seen tonight on a 15.6. Still has just over a tenth to go if he wants to beat his pole time from last season in AT1. That was a 15.499. But I believe that lap time from Josh was quicker than Wiggles' pole time on Tuesday, and we're not even in Q3 yet. This track is only going to get quicker. Not expecting any rain this evening, as Carito improves there to a 16.7, goes ahead of Felix into the top 10. So where Felix was the time to beat in Q1, he is now also the time to beat in Q2. There's TD also out on track. You see Greg in the Alfa Romeo there, just behind, coming out of the pits for his final flying run. Oh, an Asthma Frog just put in the throttle a little bit too early there out of turn 3 and into the wall. No front wing, so we would assume that Asthma Frog unfortunately will be out of qualifying, has to pit for a new front wing. TD has gone quicker, but still just a tenth shy of a spot in the top 10. 16.8. So unless TD can recharge that battery and go again, TD will be starting at best in 11th place. No assist dry, assisted one dry, watch assisted two, knowing their luck will be full wet. Hey, for real. There's just something about 82 and rain, and I'm not a fan. So Greg kicks off his final flying run. Smallest Smiley is on an outlap and is getting ready to go again. Aya is also on a timed run. Asthma Frog, as we predicted, into the pits, where he will stay out of qualifying, unfortunately. This is very confusing. Me and Fury both run number 67. That's it's not an obvious number, so that is a bit surprising. His first run on the medium compounds, so hence why he needs a tenth, a second and a quarter to get into the top 10. Only 2 tenths to the good in the middle sector. So this has to be a mighty last sector if he wants to get anywhere, and it is slower. No improvement on the time. Oh, as Small as Smiley gets a huge snap going into the final sector. Greg improves to a 16.8 and displaces both Greg and Asthma Frog. Smaller Smiley pops himself into the top 10, where he will stay and will live to fight again Felix has invalidated, so that is qualifying over for both Alfa Romeos. TD will qualify in 13th, Asma Frog in 14th, and unless this is an absolutely mega lap time from Aya on a very low charged battery, will probably start 15th, but that remains to be seen, of course. Doesn't want to invalidate through Sector 2. 2 tenths to the good, but needs more than a second if he wants to get higher than 15th here. Looking forward to Sunday. Feel reasonably quick, says Steely. We'll look forward to that. And it is an improvement. It's an 8/10th improvement from Aya, but unfortunately 3 tenths shy of those three on a 16.8. Yeah, both in the AlphaTauri team, so can't tell them apart. Better start learning your helmets. It's very easy for real F1 commentators to know the drivers because they have memorized the helmets, but I know, for instance, TD is running a different helmet each race in 81, so it's very difficult for me to do that. I'm just going to have to be a little bit off the pace in terms of that. So we have it top 10 only separated by 1.1 seconds. Vast majority separated by about 8/10ths of a second. Trying to think who is... It's Wiggles. He is the first to cross the line. Oh, lucky for some, Steely. This track is one of my worst, notoriously. So you'll probably beat me on Sunday. Couple of minutes left on that poll. Who do you think is getting top spots? Josh leading the Deflated leading the championship. Josh in second, Killian in third as things stand. But don't bet against Mr. Wiggles. Has the most pole positions in IRL history with 19. Today would be number 20 if he got it. An incredible achievement, considering other drivers that have been in this league and have been very quick on one lap pace. To get 20 is no easy feat. Everyone out on the track as we speak. Josh and Smiley going out a little bit later as Wiggles there just misses the inside apex of the final corner, takes a lovely tight line and does a 15.7. Very nicely done indeed. 10-10 boxes. Deflated Wee does a 16.0. Killian across the line and does a 15.5. Quickest time we have seen so far tonight. Fury does a 16.4. Fade does a 15.9 up there in top 3 right now. Carito 17.2 to round off his first attempt. Here comes Joseph Hales, who pops in there into 5th ahead of his teammate on a 1 minute 16.3. And Josh and Smiler now take the spotlight on their flying runs. Josh has won the pole for pole position, but will he actually get pole? Needs to go faster than what he managed last session if he wants to achieve yet another pole position. And Josh getting a lot of traffic here. Hopefully Fade knows that Josh is on a lap, and he does just dive out of the way there. Might have distracted Josh a little bit. Have to wait and see as he comes across the line. It's quick and it's provisional pole on a 15.4. 1:09.5. Still not quite quick enough to topple his pole time last season, but there is still time to go in this session. Smaller Smiley, 7th fastest at the moment. Slots in there in between both AlphaTauri cars. Tenten back out on track for another go, another shot. It's a brand new set for Tenten of soft tyres. May only be his last set of new soft tyres, so this may be the best opportunity Tenten has to try and get pole. Takes a pretty wide entry to the first couple of corners. Sacrifices the apex speed at 1 to open up turns 2 and 3 more. Might actually be a very smart move, but that's a bit of a slide out of turn 5. Taking as much curb as he can. Very nicely navigated. Pushing track limits as much as he can. You see the ultra curb that he tends to use. Tenten does a 16.2, slots in there to 6th place, but we did see a bit of a slide through turn 5. Mr. Wiggles then, only 2.5 tenths. Oh, off pole time, but that one is not going to be the one for Wiggles, as very controlled spin in turn 3 means he hasn't got damage to contend with, but obviously he will need to charge the battery, and those tyres may be a little bit more worn than he would like for his next flying run. Fury pushing the limits to turn 3 as much as he can. See those tyres there going directly over the white line, but not crossing it. Using literally as much track as he can get away with. Whole front group slipstreamed each other on the first run, being so close together on track. Remains to see if that's gained them time, or being so close to the car in front has lost them time. Fury, 15.6 and only 10th behind the top 2. Not too bad, if you ask me. Killian then does seem to be a little bit off the pace on that first run. 17.2, whole 9 tenths behind Smaller Smiley in P9. So we can only assume that first run just didn't quite go to plan for Carito. Certainly not a slouch. Carito, a tenth to the good in the opening sector. Carito is actually 4th in the championship. Has a nice healthy 27 points on Adrian. Carito's best result was winning the Miami Grand Prix 3 weeks ago. Aside from that, his only other podium was back in round 1 at Baku. He's only failed to score 2 races this season, Carito, including last week at Hungary. So, definitely capable driver. Always pretty much in Q3. Comes across the line to improve by 8 and a bit tenths, but still holds 10th place for now. Only 9 tenths separating all of the top 10. People starting to come out of the pits for their final flying run. 10-10 has been on a lap, but this one has been invalidated. I wonder if this was an out lap. Smaller Smiley about to start his final flying run in a couple of seconds' time. Only quarter of a second separating the top 4. This really is anyone's guess. Obviously Fury coming out of the pits now, but with only 1 minute 6 left, I doubt Fury will make it. And obviously Fury cannot cut corners in that S section to get to the line on time, so just need to be wary of that. If you see anything, chat on your track map, let me know. But we will be covering this. 10-10 just invalidates through this S section, and he may have time for one more final run. That remains to be seen. 10-10 moves out of the way for a whole cluster of cars making their way into the final sector. Smaller Smiley here on a time lap does not want to be impeded by this group of 4 who are all slowing down, and that is exactly what's happened. Smaller Smiley has been blocked by a good couple of drivers who are all queuing up, and that is very unfortunate for Smaller Smiley. Was improving on his time, I believe, and that is going to be a slam dunk penalty, I think, maybe for 10-10, who I think in the house has inadvertently blocked Smaller Smiley there. Fury has finished the session. He did not make the line in time, so he will start 3rd at best on the grid. Carito has finished in 10th, and Smaller Smiley, after that naughty little block, will start 9th on the grid. Fade has improved to a 15.6 and will start 3rd as things stand, but has now been pushed to 4th as Mr. Wiggles has done a 15.6 on the nose and goes 3rd fastest. Deflated Wee, our championship leader, will only start at best in 6th as Josh coming to the end of his final lap, and Killian ahead of him on track. Killian, no improvement as Josh does a 15.3, and that is the fastest lap time we have seen this week so far. 10-10 boxes, and this one is invalidated for Joseph. But that is truly phenomenal stuff from Josh, who takes yet another pole position. Lock brakes again, says Mr. Wiggles. Struggled with the throttle on Tuesday night, so hopefully no more problems for Wiggles with the wheel. In his 39th race tonight, this is pole position number 13. In 1 in 3 races, he gets pole. And this could be exactly the title swing that he is hoping for. 11 points behind Wee in the championship, and Wee is starting down there in P6. So Josh, who is what seems to be a Mexican master here, top 100 pretty much in TT on Xbox, seems to be the one to beat here this evening. Killian will start alongside on the front row, who is aiming to close the gap on Wee himself. Wiggles and Fade on row 2, Fury and Wee on row 3. Row 4 is 10-10 and Hales, and Smaller Smiley and Carito finish out row 5 in the top 10. What was pole time and who got pole? Wasn't watching, had to go away 50 minutes. It was a 15-3 by Josh. Should have bet how many penalties. We can always do that towards the start of the race as well. Yeah, let's do that towards the start of the race. Right, feature driver then, in case you're new around here, is a way for us to get to know the drivers in our league rather than just have a gamer tag on a screen in a car. And this week we are having Josh, excuse me, as our featured driver. Josh then is 18 years of age from a place called Scarborough, which is in the UK. Josh is currently studying in sport therapy course for the next 2 years. And his hobby and interests include watching the F1 and football, as well as playing, going out socialising, having a good time. He races on the wheel, specifically a Thrustmaster Ferrari replica. And his favourite driver in F1 is Sebastian Vettel. His favourite track in real life is Silverstone, but his favourite track on this calendar, no surprise, is Mexico. As for his racing strengths, he says qualifying pace, not crashing, clean driving. That involves no time penalties or no incidents with other drivers. And his goals for Season 4... he's aiming for another championship. He won 81 last season, and he's in a pretty good spot to win it this season. No specific rival, just says the driver directly in front and or behind. So that is more about Josh. We have feature driver for all 3 tiers. And we are always live on this channel at 7:30 PM GMT, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday every week, whilst our season is carrying on. And I believe this 5-minute break is rapidly coming to a close. So here we go then, Mexican Grand Prix is underway. Josh on the front row with Killian Wiggles, who is a good starter as well. And one to look out for is Fade, who has a really good reputation, it seems. Good start there from Josh and Mr. Wiggles. Killian just bogged down a little bit off the line and has lost second place to Wiggles. A couple of drivers going on the extreme outside of turn 1 there, trying to avoid contact. We've got drivers shifting up and down the field. Wee has had a really good exit out of turn 3, challenging Fade for P4 in turn 4. But Fade there just stays ahead, making good use of the outside traction of turn 4. Joseph Hales has penalty already. I can only assume for a straight corner cut, not just a warning. So I have to wait and see if that one will stand or whether he'll try to get that one removed with the stewards. Let's have a look then at the tyre strap. Everyone on the hard compound. Very easy for us to predict what kind of strategies people are doing, and unless there's any early unforced safety car or any unforced errors from anyone, I imagine there'll be some undercut attempts later in the race. But so far so good, everyone in a big old train. No DRS until lap 3, of course. Asthma Frog there just pulling out of the slipstream of Greg, trying to make a move down into turn 1. Greg alongside, but Asthma Frog, that's a really good overtake. Just, oh, it's in the background. We got Roro, sorry, having a bit of oversteer out of turn 3. And it's always difficult when you join the race late. May not have had the amount of practice that you need to familiarise yourself with the track, but I'm sure we'll see more of Roro in this race. But going back to that move from Asma Frog, it was really, really clever move. Greg gave him the space in turn 2. Asma Frog just said, right, I'll swing it around the outside, get the inside line for turn 3, and, well, it worked a treat. Lovely overtake. Oh, as Smaller Smiley has had a problem going into the final sector. That's at turn 12, making a slight mistake, and that's a bit of a spin. There we go. Fades. Heading down the inside of the championship leader, Deflated. Smaller Smiley boxes have some damage after that spin at turn 12. And onto a set of medium compound tyres. Deflated Wheat staying within striking distance, but not going for the move there into turn 4. Josh and Wiggles lead the way. Nothing really separating them. Killian is not in DRS range of the top 2, but he also has Fade behind out of his DRS range. Should add some sound effects to spend points on. That will only work if I'm streaming on PC, which I'm not. When I have better internet, I want to stream on PC, and I will be able to do that then. But unfortunately, if you're streaming from the Xbox, you can't do that. Apologies. So DRS is well enabled now. And I'm sure Deflated will be eyeing up a move on that Ferrari into the opening corner. Wiggles is really close to Josh there, you can see in the foreground as they head through the first couple of corners. Snack streams on the Xbox. I believe Spark, when he is streaming, he streams on the PC, but I'll need to code some stuff in, and I just haven't quite got round to it. It's Deflated Wheat, goes for the move. Didn't get it fully done into 4, and as a result had to resort to a switchback. Couldn't fully turn in on 6 there, and Fade stays ahead. I completely agree, Novatek. Something I've always wanted to do on this channel is get some sound rewards in there, but unfortunately just not quite at the right time for me. So a bit of a train forming behind Fade, who is looking to drop Wii faster than CM Punk was dropped from UFC. Move for the leads. Mr. Wiggles using the DRS nicely there into the first corner. Josh looking to fight back. However, it's a double DRS zone here, which means if you've got the detection at the final corner, you get it out of turn, into turn 1 and out of turn 3. Bit of a very fast queue forming now behind Deflated. We've got Tenten, Carito, Joseph Hales, Fury and Felix. Pretty much, I think all of them have been on the podium this season. Maybe not Fury though, I will have to check that one. But certainly all quick in their own right. And you're in this position now where all of the top 10 quick enough to get a podium because they've all proved it. But still, Felix, who got his first podium the other week, is stuck there in P10. You think, well, he's quick enough to be there in the top 5, but just the calibre of driving that AT1 has produced this season is rather phenomenal. 10-10 gets past, Deflated into the opening corner, and another change for the lead. This time Josh making that move on Wiggles into the first corner. we could see this going on for a good number of laps. As you do see in the background, Kilian is starting to gain on the top two. Thinks to himself, right, I need to put some ERS on this track if I need to close and try and get in that DRS range here. TD now joining the back of this train in what is effectively the battle for P5, as Fury gets a time penalty. 6 drivers already on penalties. There's further back. Oh, you got Joseph Hales jockeying with Carito for a move to no avail. No one really close enough to make a move. Deflated Wee not fighting back on 10-10. And Deflated seems to be more under pressure from behind than he is putting 10-10 under pressure here. Kilian has got into DRS range of the top two. So that is now a 3-way fight for the race lead. A smaller Smiley sets a new fastest lap of the race on those mediums. Asma and I are having a nice little battle over P12 at the moment. And other than that, it's just this big old DRS train. Always Deflated, you see, making a bit of a mistake, going wide, losing a place. 2 places, in fact, to Carito and Joseph. And now Joseph with the DRS open goes to the inside of turn 12. And Carito thinks better of going side by side there, but he has Deflated Wee. A big orange menace right behind him in the form of our championship leader, aiming to get past again. There's your poll up. How many time penalties do you think this race will produce? Carito now dropping back from 10-10. 10-10's pace since he got past Deflated has been really, really good. No real changes on this lap. However, 4 of the top 7 all on time penalties, and a good 3 or 4 drivers in this big DRS train also have early time penalties. Lap 8 of 36 has come to a close. Lap 9 has started. Don't expect to see any pit stops on those hard runners until around about lap 21 or 22. Maybe some may box for an undercut around lap 19 or 20. Big orange menace. Yep, I said it. He is a big orange menace. Joseph Hales trying desperately to find a way past Carito. Has a nice switchback, but gets a little bit of a snap of oversteer, and that might produce an opportunity here for Deflated to go down the inside. But Joseph has the DRS, of course, on Carito. Deflated Wee sticking his nose in. Really good traction out of 5, and through 6, Joseph has nowhere to go except behind that McLaren. Fury for a slight moment there thought about getting past his teammate into turn 6, but to no avail. I'd be proud of myself if I don't get any penalties on Sunday. Honestly, as Fury goes for the move on Joseph, it is almost impossible here to be fast and not get penalties. So anyone who doesn't get penalties here tonight will be very impressive. And what will this DRS zone bring us, as 1010 has got within DRS range now of Fade, up there in P4. Fury and Joseph going side by side. Rule number 1, of course, do not hit your teammate. Fury's had a really good exit. Moves to the left-hand side of the track. Could be a very clever decision as he brakes pretty much exactly the same time as his teammate, and that's what's kept Joseph ahead. But a bit of a switchback going on for Fury, but to no avail. And Fury's taken a lot of inside curb at 6. Presents a slight opening for Felix as TD's very close here and just has to lift off to avoid some contacts. Asma Frog here is closing. Decent pace it's getting past Aya. Up there in P12, making this now a, oh goodness, how many cars? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 8 or 9 car fight for 6th. This is turning into a very interesting Grand Prix. Joining back with the top 3, no changes for the leads. Killian has got within DRS range, however, has not been quite close enough to go for a move on Wiggles. Joseph Hales there in P8 gets a time penalty, his second time penalty of the night. However, the first one may be disputed as Wee gets past Kirito, and that is into turn 6. So possibly a switch back out of turn 5. If Wee gets that move done, now sits at the front of that little train. Fury in P9 gets a time penalty. These time penalties will add up, obviously. You don't need to be told that, as Kirito has lost the place now to Joseph Hales. And down the inside of Kirito now goes Fury, and they're going to have to give each other space. Almost impossible to go side by side through that corner as Fury just slots in behind. Slightly forced off track, but overtaking around the outside of turn 14 there is pretty much impossible. Already regretting your vote in the poll. I thought assist tier 1 would be better. That poll still has a good 5 minutes on it, so you can still change your vote, I believe. Maybe just check it. Fade battling with 1010 for 4th place at the moment. This battle led by Deflated are 6 seconds behind the battle for 4th. And the battle for 4th is 6 seconds behind the lead battle. Asma and Aya continue to fight in what could be rivalry of the day. Oh, you can't. I thought you could change. My bad. So, as things stand in the championship, Deflated Wee leads Josh by 11 points. Josh will be taking home 25. Deflated will be taking home 8, which means Josh will be leading the championship by 6 points after tonight as things stand. Last thing Deflated wants to do here is get any time penalties as he starts to creep on the back of 1010. That gap now 6.2, 6.1 seconds, around about that. So he is starting to make some inroads on 1010 and Fade. Really intriguing battle between these two. I want to see what's happening between Asma and Aya. Lap 13 of 36. 1/3 race distance completed already. And not as much action as I was hoping for. Still plenty of overtakes, but that DRS train between P6 and P11 is doing exactly what you would expect it to do. At the moment, Felix in P10 is due to jump ahead of Carito Fury and Joseph Hales up into 7th place, just on time penalties. That's how much things can change if you have a clean race free from time penalties. And these two AlphaTauris, as they get closer together on track, there's a bit of an impending threat that Carito will be left behind slightly, and he is out of DRS range. Wiggles has dropped back out front to out of DRS range as well. He's 1.1 now behind. Needs a strong last sector if he wants the DRS down the main straight on Josh. Might find himself under increasing pressure from Killian as well. Ten, this strategy is not new. Sit behind a driver. Maybe force them into a mistake. Very mature racing. As you do see, Wiggles does not have a DRS on the race leader Josh. But that looks like a possible warning for Killian there, just cutting over turn 2. Ten going for a switchback. Oh, big snap of oversteer. And that will grind any move Ten was hoping into turn 4 to a halt. Top 3 need to be placed in tier alien. Oh, their pace has been good. Oh, and Joseph Hales' mistake. And he's cut over the hole. Oh, and his teammate Fury as well has had a problem. I wonder if the two AlphaTauris have made contact. Joseph Hales, you saw, cut over turn 4 and 5. Or just turn 5. That 10-second penalty may be taken off as Greg, making a bit of a mistake through the S section, takes a unorthodox line. And you saw Fury at the exit of turn 5 there, off the track, so I wonder if there's been a bit of an implosion at AlphaTauri. Ten and Fade continuing to swap places, and that has now promoted Felix and TD up into 8th and 9th. Both AlphaTauris slip to P10 and 11. Aya's slight mistake on the previous lap has just put him into the clutches of Padge, who, without any time penalties so far, is due to jump up into P14 as things stand. Wiggles is very close to getting back in DRS range. Josh is doing a really good job here at managing the gap. Obviously, we don't cover how much ERS people have left on the streams, because that is something that we should not know about. Ten, after his battle with Fade, now finds himself not only 14 seconds behind the leaders, but now finds himself actually bringing Deflated Wii back into contention here for 4th. TD makes an early pit stop and boxing onto the medium compound possibly in an attempt to do a little bit of undercut on those around him. Was engaged in a very good battle with Felix, who's directly behind Kirito. So TD potentially aiming for an undercut, which would put him in P7 if it were to work very nicely. Unless TD's made a big mistake and I've missed it, which is very plausible as well. Mr. Wiggles pits from second place, and he is possibly thinking the same thing. I'm going to go for a bit of an undercut on Josh. I'm going to pull this string and see if the cat tugs on it. Been thoroughly impressed with Fade's pace. Did get caught by 10-10, and they've engaged in a battle for many laps now. Good 10 laps or so battle for P4. Oh, and Fade just spinning it through the S section. He'll need to spin that car around before he gets disqualified. Well, some people will say common sense curse, but we all know it doesn't exist, so. Mr. Wiggles makes his way past Felix. Obviously, brand new tyres on the car. And, oh, it's 10-10. Has retired in the pits. That is very unexpected and was not... I'm confused. Why? How? Mr. Wiggles gets a penalty, as John said. Owen, thank you for the raid, mate. Appreciate that. If you're in the stream, go and drop Owen a follow. Let's see if I can get a shout out going. Is that how you do it? I don't know. There you go. There you go. Go and drop Owen a follow. Thank you very much for the raid, mate. Appreciate that. I hope your stream went well. What are you up to today, mate? Killian Pitts from second place, obviously onto the mediums. No surprises about that. Josh, though, continues his trend of staying out on those harder compound tyres. Has done that for a number of races now, and as Mr. Wiggles sets a new fastest lap of the race, obviously he goes flying past Killian into third place. But Josh did this last time out in Hungary, and although he did close that gap in the end, he only had, well, half a lap in DRS range. And actually staying out that 4 or 5 laps later really hurt him and his hopes for winning that Grand Prix. Deflated and Wiggles swapping places, no surprises there. Thank you very much, TJ. Josh needs to pit now. He does indeed. However, I'm not convinced Josh will. He's done this a few times now where he's stayed out a few laps longer, and it's actually hurt his track position, as you see Felix getting a time penalty. Josh does pit this lap. That is good. But I'm not convinced he will get out ahead of Mr. Wiggles, who is coming round the final corner now. Josh is making his way out of the pits as we speak. And there you see it. Wiggles takes the lead. The 3-lap undercut was enough. And Josh will, of course, need to get those tyres up to temperature ASAP. And by that point, he might find himself over a second behind Mr. Wiggles. Carito and Fade have stayed out this lap as everyone else has boxed for new tyres. I'm waiting for this interval gap to update. It says Josh is very close to the back of Wiggles when he isn't. Looks like a second to me. And we said about TD's potential undercut on Felix. He has made it stick. And not only that, but TD is hanging with the championship leader deflated and has now a 2-second gap behind to Felix. Obviously those 4 extra lap holds, tyre wear will make a difference, but if TD here can hang on to the coattails of deflated, TD could be dragged along here to what would be a P7 finish. Fades held in the pits. Oh no, just a bit of lag there. And Carito also comes out of the pits. Deflated now up into 4th place. TD now owner of P5. And from, what was it, 13th place on the grid, TD? This is a really fabulous race so far from his perspective. Obviously those time penalties will mean something in about 10 laps or so time. So Wiggles leads this race, but with that time penalty that he got coming out of the pits, Fury and Carito side by side. Carito has the inside line for turn 7, and very wisely Fury slots in behind. As TD gets another time penalty and has dropped out of DRS range of Wii. So now TD is under pressure behind from Felix, and if this group can catch up, it will be a 5-way fight for 5th. There's battle for 12th going on. Aya defending from Greg and Padge, who have not got any time penalties so far to their name. Neither has Roro, which is pretty good going. Obviously, Josh, Killian and we need to make sure for their podium hopes that they keep their races clean as well, as Greg makes his way up into 12th. I guess it's time to see what Fade is made of. After that early spin running up there with 10-10 in P4 and 5. Now finds himself in P10. So will we see Fade's pace come into play? Killian at the moment 3.5 seconds behind the race leader Wiggles. That 3-second time penalty will not cost Wiggles 2nd place as things stand, but it will cost him the win as these 2 AlphaTauris continue to fight, and things just slightly settling down. Felix is gaining on TD and pulling away from Fury. Carito just hasn't quite had the race pace to hang with those 2 AlphaTauris. That later pit stop obviously may have cost him a couple of seconds as well. Very interesting how this race has panned out. It was very DRS train heavy in the first stint, and a couple of undercuts have triggered some very important changes in the order. TD obviously the first one to trigger these pit stops. Wiggles soon after. The leaders start lap 25. Ten laps to go. Or 12 laps to go even. And it's not been the most dramatic race, but something tells me in the last 12 or so laps something's going to happen. Sometimes you just have a gut feeling. I think there is still plenty of action left in this race. As Fade homing in to the back of Carito, who makes a defensive manoeuvre on the inside line. Carito has a pretty good at this exit from turn 3. But Fade moving to the inside! And it was a late defence from Carito. He thought he did enough to cover the inside route, but Fade shoved it up there. And Carito was like, hold on a minute, I don't want you up my inside, I'll switch back on you. And it's very aggressive defending here from Carito. All's fair in love and war, as they say, but I'll let you at home decide how fair you deem that defensive move. Josh within DRS range of Wiggles out in front. Not like Josh to get a lot of time penalty. Smaller Smiley gets a time penalty down in 15th place. Yellow flag as we have Smaller Smiley? Yeah, Smaller Smiley has had a bit of a spin in the S section. This time Fade has got the move done before the corner. Into turn 1. So back to penalty watch. Joseph Hales has 19 seconds. Goodness, that is a lot of penalties. Might find himself dropping behind Fade, Carito, Greg, Padge. Maybe even out of the points. Asmafrog also with that 13-second total at the moment might find himself without any realistic shots and points here this evening. Still plenty of laps to go. Anything can change as Aya gets 6 seconds now. Fury dumping a lot of ERS here. That horizontal green bar in the cockpit on the wheel means he is using ERS, as Felix just has to cede that position. So fair enough, he's got me. Fury here looking to get past TD now in the same breath. Not alongside into the braking zone, tries to brake as late as he can to get alongside, but TD, good defence there. A wily old character, TD. Always Felix, bit of a nudge on Fury. Felix here knows the time penalty situation. He knows he has the least penalties around him, and as things stand, that will promote him up into P5. Even if he does fall behind Joseph Hales here, who's just had a better S section. They are exactly side by side as Fury ahead gets his 12 seconds now of time penalties. Joseph Hales, oh, could have ended so much worse. Felix just moves over. Joseph Hales says, hey buddy, I'm here. I'm alongside, and Fury going for the move around the outside of TD. TD goes for a nice little switchback and gets a decent exit. But Fury has the DRS. And TD weaving the car, possibly saying, hey man, that move was not a nice one. I doubt he'd be getting temperature in the tyres. They're going to be nice and toasty at this point. So maybe TD thought there that move from Fury wasn't as fair as possible. Fury does seem to be getting a move on. With those 12 seconds of penalties, he does need to drop TD ASAP. From his perspective, Deflated Wii is clear of this group, but still finds himself 30 seconds behind the race leader. That's how good these top two, and Killian as well, have been driving tonight. Oh, TD. Very unorthodox line through the final corner. Joseph Hales, after making his way past Felix, has made his way past TD. There's AlphaTauri's making moves in the latter stages of the race, but they have to, considering the amount of time penalties they have. And looky, Fade here was 4 seconds behind this group when he got past Carito. Fade has been on a charge in the last few laps, and now with only 3 seconds of penalties here, could be on for 5th place, where he was originally before he span. This is a really interesting fight. TD still getting the DRS from Joseph, otherwise get the feeling Felix and Fade will be putting him under huge pressure. And into turn 4 is a change for the leads. Josh makes his way past Wiggles. Came out of the pits about 1.5 behind, has now made up the ground, has made the move on the race leader. And now Wiggles will be hoping that he can stay 3 seconds ahead of Killian. Currently the gap is 2.3, but Mr. Wiggles has had a big mistake through that S section and has lost a whole second. But he's losing time, and I wonder here if Mr. Wiggles' wheel is causing him problems. He was quite noticeably slower in that last sector, and I wonder if Mr. Wiggles's wheel has done something odd and he's gone into the pits to try and fix something. Obviously he has the free pit stop on Deflated Wii, who is also boxing. Oh, and there's a full safety car. It hasn't popped up on our screen. There's a full safety car, and that's why people are pitting. Wow, I seem like a bit of an idiot now. Yeah, safety car. And all of a sudden, is our race leader under pressure? Josh had this race won with Wiggles' time penalty, Killian far enough back to not be a threat. And now, all of a sudden, the safety car is out, and I've no idea what it is for. 1010 retired ages ago, and he did so in the pits. So I reckon somebody has had a bit of a crash and left some debris on the track. Obviously, Josh boxing, Killian likewise. But will Mr. Wiggles get out ahead of Josh and Killian? And as he throws down the throttle, Mr. Wiggles does just slot into P2 where he was before. Asthma Frog deciding to stay out. And he will be a sitting duck on those medium compounds. Oh, it's Greg. P11 at the moment, and now has a drive-through penalty for speeding under safety car Delta. That will ruin Greg's race, and he will need to serve that before the race is over. Otherwise, he'll get, I think, a 20-second time penalty. But Asthma Frog here finds himself in P4. Does have 13 seconds of time penalties. Joseph Hales has lost out as well. He's now down to 10th, obviously, with the two AlphaTauris double stacking for soft tyres. Joseph Hales has now lost 1, 2, 3 places because of that. And once this field are bunched, we will go again. Roro pits for a new set of soft tyres. However, with only 4 laps remaining, 5 laps remaining, no, 4 laps remaining, this safety car will be in either this lap or next lap, so Roro needs to get a move on. Everyone else should catch up in time. Smaller Smiley just coming into turn 12 now. The leader's heading into turn 1. Have a look at the penalty situation. On Tuesday, there was only one driver to keep their race penalty free. Tonight, we have 5. That is a bit of a shock. We're expecting more penalties than this. Safety car will come out, stay out, sorry, for lap 34, which gives Roro half a lap to catch the back of the pack. Still one more Mexico race to go through here this week. Join us on Sunday night for Assist Tier 2 at 7:30 PM GMT, that is UK time. AT2 has been the most, I would say, unpredictable league division in this league so far this season, so we may see some very unexpected things happen on Sunday night. But for Josh, safety car will be in this lap, and it will be up to him to decide when to put that power down. When will he go? Only he knows, and he's gone. And he's caught Mr. Wiggles napping here. Mr. Wiggles a full second behind just on that restart. Killian obviously will get ahead past Wiggles on time penalties as Deflated Wee using those soft tyres to get as close as he can to the back of Asthma Frog. And that's a very late move, but it's a very committed move, and it had to be, as Asthma Frog is really struggling on those mediums. He's dropping back a load of places. Fade goes a little bit wide at the exit of turn 3. Plenty of action in the midfield. Joseph Hales trying to swing it around the outside of Felix. To no avail. Smaller Smiley, time penalty. 18 seconds now for him. TD with a time penalty. Joseph Hales with another time penalty now. And Mr. Wiggles making it 6 seconds. And all of a sudden, Deflated Wee is now on the podium. Fade making a move down the inside of turn 14 on Asthma Frog, and there's contact. Those medium tyres just not quite working for Asthma Frog. did not turn out to be the best strategy call, I'm afraid. And in the end, who knows whose fault that contact was, as Joseph Hills now makes a move down the inside of Felix for 7th. Mr. Wiggles has been leading this race for a long time, was battling with Josh up there for the race win. That 3-second time penalty did hinder his chances, but now that 6-second time penalty has condemned him to a race off the podium, where before this safety car deflated, we was 25 seconds behind Mr. Wiggles. And on the last lap of the race, Josh is going to take yet another race victory in AT1 this season. He found himself 11 points behind deflated at the start of the day. That gap is going to shrink to 1 point.
Thank you.
Josh comes across the line and absolutely proves why he is the reigning AT1 champion. Killian, well-deserved podium. Deflated Weed does steal the podium from Mr. Wiggles, who in the end finishes in P4. It didn't let you go, it locked your throttle. That was it. That would explain why. That would explain why you lost a second. And in the end, they all finished so quickly that I didn't see who finished where. And it looks like Kirito caused a safety car. I'm not too sure what for, possibly for debris. But in case anyone was wondering, I think Kirito was the reason why that safety car came out. But Josh takes home not only the race victory, but the fastest lap of the race, which means he does gain 11 points on Wii. They are now level on points with 6 races to go. So Josh and Wii proving that this could be the rivalry of the century as for this league. Killian, well-deserved podium, was expecting to be P3, but with that penalty for Wiggles, jumps up into second. Wiggles finishes off the podium in what could be described as the farce of the century. Well-deserved a podium or a race win here tonight. Felix, really good result there on his first on his first race as a full-time driver now in the league. Fades, after the spin that went in from P5 to P10, finishes in 6th place. And Padge and Roro, who were so far behind, finish in the points. And that just shows, keep it clean on time penalties and you're going to succeed on this track. TD and Fury do finish in the points paying positions. Kirito just missing out by a few seconds. Aya, Joseph Hell, Smaller Smiley, Greg, Asthma Frog round out the classified runners as 1010 retired in the pits quite a while ago. Awful pace with no practice but no warnings did the trick, said Roro. 100%. Keep it clean. If a safety car comes out towards the end of the race, you're always in with a shot at some points. So Roro, lovely to have you racing, mate. I'm excited to see what you bring to the league. And although it wasn't your race for a good 33 laps, some points. So congratulations, mate. Well done for that. Right. Whilst I have a look who to raise, I'm going to catch my breath slightly. That was a very frantic end to the Grand Prix. And I'm sure on Sunday night we are going to have some more cracking racing. Sunday, Assist Tier 2, 7:30 PM on this channel, UK time. Wow.